Well, welcome to another week of perSPECtive. We got a fun week this week. We got a special guest, as you can see, with us. As probably everyone watching is going to probably know who you are, but we got Jamey Stegmaier from Stonemaier Games, the founder, also a designer in his own right, doing some games like Scythe and Viticulture, Euphoria, between, God, I always have to forget to say it.
Charterstone and Tapestry are the
Tapestry other two. Did you design the between two
cities of Mad King Ludwig?
Thank you. Gosh, I always say that. Yes.
I did not. No, that's yeah. I have 5 games that I design and 5 games designed by other designers. And the between two games, Cities and Castles, are designed by Ben and Matthew. Ben lives in Chicago, actually. Ben Rossett.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. And of course, for everyone tuning in, Stonemaier now has the Oceania expansion for Wingspan is now pre-ordered, so go check that out on their website. I pretty much pre-ordered it right on Wednesday last week. I was like hitting that refresh button. I'm like, here we go. Yeah. So this week we're doing our topic is going to be games that inspire you, encourage you, or potentially require you to stand up. Probably one that you don't quite see or people talk about as like a discussion for board games, so should be a fun little discussion. But as this week's going to be a little bit shorter, we'll kind of keep our little interview a bit shorter too, but to kind of get to know you, Jamey, as a board gamer, rather than everyone kind of knows you as the designer, so just for people to see you and how much you love games like us. Tell us about your first experience that you can remember in board games.
First that I can remember, I was lucky that I played a bunch of games when I was really young. My parents bought quite a few games like Labyrinth and Scotland Yard, Risk, Millbourne. But probably the first that I actually remember in chess, I played chess a lot when I was younger, is a classic. I'm almost embarrassed to admit it now, but it is Monopoly. Like Monopoly is one of the first games that I played as a kid. And I would play with my sister and my best friend and his sister. And we would kind of, like I think a lot of people do, we would modify the rules and get to a certain point in the game and just have open trading.
Okay.
And I just have a lot of good memories of doing that, like getting to that point in the game where you're like, okay, we can finally break free of the constraints of this game and just trade with each other and buy and sell stuff from each other. I really enjoyed that.
You're nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And what age was that around?
That was probably when I was 8, 9, 10, around that age.
Okay, I've been playing board games for a long while then, That's awesome. And what would you say kind of like your first game in like the modern, like a modern board game that's kind of started your collection, maybe? Like, what would you say that was? Well,
there were definitely a few stepping stones. There was Catan, and then there was Agricola. So we played, for a while, I just played Catan. For like years, I just played Catan, and then I played Agricola just for years. But one that was kind of a bit of a turning point was Fresco. Have any of you guys played Fresco?
No.
I have. I've heard of it.
I want to.
I haven't played it.
I've seen it, but I've not played it.
It's essentially kind of I would say somewhat of a classic Euro game. And it has a few mechanisms where like it's basically worker placement and you're painting a big fresco and competing with other players to build better things onto a shared fresco. But it has a wake-up track, and this wake-up track just really opened up my eyes to a worker placement turn order mechanism. And I essentially directly stole it and put it in Viticulture in a different way, used it in a slightly different way. But I loved it so much, I was like, I wanted to use it. So if you like that wake-up mechanism in Viticulture, it was directly derived from Fresco. And that kind of opened my eyes to a bunch of other worker placement games after that.
Sure. Okay. And so would you say worker placement is probably your more favorite mechanism, or do you have another one that you really love?
Yeah, actually, I can say this somewhat definitively because I just did a top 12 list of my top 12 favorite mechanisms. I recorded it yesterday. It'll go live on my channel in a couple weeks. And worker placement did end up being the number one mechanism.
Nice. Okay.
that type of thing. That do you guys have that when you hear a game has a certain mechanism that you're just like, okay, I need to know more about this game, whatever it may be.
For me, it's worker placement. It's always I love it.
I was going to tell you to watch your videos if you wanted to ask the question. I watch them while I'm folding laundry.
Oh, nice.
For me, it's always multi-use cards. If I see a game that has multi-use cards, I need to know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, great. Yeah. I just realized. Okay. Well, we're not recording this one. Why is it not going? One sec. Okay. Well, Keegan, do you got a question you want to ask?
Yeah. Do you have a current favorite game? Like, I know, especially for board gamers, favorite games fluctuate like relentlessly, just because there's so much new stuff coming out. But are there a few games that you consider just like top tier for yourself that you would always play no matter what if someone asked it, or just has always stuck around for you for some personal reason?
Yeah, that's a good way to ask it, because I do a top 10 list every 6 months because it does change for me. And this past 6 months when I did it, it was a weird list to do because I haven't had much in-person gaming except for with my girlfriend over the last 6 months. All of it's been virtual, a lot on Board Game Arena. And so I limited it to games on that list. But the way that you asked it was like games that I would always play ongoing over many years, which I like to think of it that way. We'll get to that point hopefully soon. And the Castles of Madkin Ludwig, you mentioned Ludwig a second ago, the original game, the Castles of Madkin Ludwig. I love that game. I am always happy to play that. Always happy to teach that. Have you guys played that one?
Yeah.
The original?
No, I have on my phone.
I have not, no.
I love that game. It has an I price, you choose mechanism in it. Like I cut, you choose, I price, you choose. That's one of my top mechanisms as well. Really love that. And one of the games that actually did top my recent list that I am happy to always play, I cheated and said Seven Wonders and Seven Wonders Duel. I really like both of them for different reasons. They're both always satisfying for me to play. So I would put both of those near the top two.
Okay.
And then in terms of deck building, I love Clank. I really, really love Clank.
Yeah. Clank's so good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Do you prefer the original or do you like the in space more?
I actually like the original. I respect what In Space did, where they took the original and kind of fixed some things. But I'm okay with things being a little unbalanced just because of the fun that I have from playing the original Clank.
Sure.
And Clank Legacy too. Have you guys played the Legacy version of Clank?
I haven't done the Legacy. No. I have the acquisitions to bring into the regular Clank. But I haven't done the actual Legacy one yet, no.
Yeah, COVID's been hard with the Legacy games. We have like a pile, I feel like, just stocking up, King's Dilemma and other ones that are like, we'll get to it eventually.
Right. Oh man, I was going to ask one too that I was... so last week we had Caroline on. We actually were talking about couples and like how some couples, like how you deal with like a spouse that really loves playing board games or one that doesn't. So with you, your significant other, do they play games a lot with you, or are they kind of, where do they fall on that board game addiction?
Kind of like me, Megan has been a gamer for most of her life, so that was one of the things that definitely attracted me to her. That she did love games. I didn't have to try to bring her into the hobby, although that is wonderful when people do that, when you bring new people into the hobby. But yeah, Megan is very good at games. She's great at polyomino games, deck building games. She usually beats me at Star Realms and Shards of Infinity and clanking games like that. I have found, we moved in together last year, and it was a good timing because now I have a regular gaming partner. And so we play a lot of two-player games, and I have found that given that we have so little chance to play games with other people in person, we really enjoy cooperative games together more. We've kind of grown into that. It's fun to compete when we're in a bigger group, but one-on-one, we found that we like cooperative games more. Do you guys have any favorite games that you like, favorite cooperative games that you like playing with only one other person?
Only one?
Cooperative.
My wife really loves Oneirim, which that game is built to be single player normally, but the two-player variant in that game out of all the Oniverse games, that one works the best. And her and I, that's almost our go-to game to play co-op when we go to, at least when we could go out, when we go to cafes, that was our go-to to pack up and take with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like Spirit Island two-player a lot. Sometimes we do a third Spirit too, Aiden and I, and we just both control it sometimes just so you have more going on. But I like Spirit Island two-player a lot.
I can't say I really play a whole lot of.
Yeah, you don't
I'm
like
not a big co-op. I'm not a big co-op
Okay.
player. Yeah, I like the competition between. I like the banter and.
He loves crushing everybody.
He beat me in Genties by 2 points last night.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
it was a fun game. But as far as co-ops, not too many. I think the only one that I've really enjoyed, though I don't know how well it's going to work at 2-player, would be the Set a Watch, which was a little over a year ago. Was the Kickstarter, and their new one expansion just came out, and that was a lot of fun. It was 4 of us, but it's a fun little, like, you can kind of get into the adventure and co-op, and it's not like, I like that one because someone can't really what do we call that? The
Quarterback.
Yeah, quarterbacking on it, because everyone kind of knows their own roles and be like, well, I can do this. Can you maybe help out? Yeah, you each need to help play off and let everyone know what you can still do, and so that was it was a lot of fun. So looking forward to the expansion on that.
I like that pick. Yeah.
Should we get into some stand-up games?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right. Usually we rank them. I don't know that we were really ranking them, at least for here. More just talking about this. If you want to start us off, Jamey, with your first game.
Sure. Yeah, and I guess I'll say that I brought up this topic because I thought it'd be fun to, like, this is something that I can easily search for. I don't know if anyone's done a best games list for standing up. It's one that I want to do on my channel, and so I thought it'd be interesting to get someone else's opinions, because we do sit down a lot when we play games.
Yeah.
It is nice, so in some games, for you to actually have a reason to stand up. So I picked 3 games from 3 different types of categories here that I'll mention. I'll start with mental blocks. I guess you said you don't like cooperative games, but Mental Blocks is a cooperative game. Are you guys familiar with it? I can just describe it for people who don't know.
Go ahead. Yeah, they haven't. Go for it.
Yeah, so it's a game where you have a bunch of these foam blocks, and you have to. The goal of the game is to cooperatively put them together into a certain structure, but each player only knows what one angle of that structure looks like. So I might see it from a 2-dimensional standpoint. So I think some players have a 3D standpoint, but they see it and they don't see the colors. Other players might see just from one angle a 2D perspective of like a green block next to a rectangular orange block and then a gray block on there. But you don't know what it might look on the other side to someone else. You only know that perspective. And so you have to work together using these different perspectives, this limited information, to form this collective structure. And it results in players moving around the table a lot because they're picking up blocks, they're putting them on the thing, and perspective matters. So you're always moving around to see, okay, maybe this is the angle that I need to be looking at to get my vantage point right.
How big are the blocks?
They're pretty big. I would say maybe the squares are around 2 inches by 2 inches. Yeah, they're big chunky blocks.
Yeah.
You played this?
No, I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it played, and I've seen. Yeah, I haven't actually played it myself, but no, I've seen it, and that aspect of having to like walk around and like keep trying to find the right perspective, like a fun for like a dexterity game where you're playing with others trying to like work out, and it's not like one that someone can quarterback on, right? Everyone's kind of trying to figure out and walk around and like help each other, and be like, I think I got this, and I appreciate it when a game like that can do that, and allow for everyone to actually be involved in it. Helps a lot, and then that's not many games that you can has that type of mechanic, right? Where you're walking around and then almost like a puzzle within a puzzle, right? Just trying to put it together, but then you're also trying to figure out where you need how your own thing is going together. Yeah,
right.
It seems interesting. One that we play, obviously, a bit harder if you're trying to play with some more players. It's getting together. That might be a bit tougher too, but it's not a good pandemic pick. But
neither are mine.
And there's a time limit too, so you always know. Okay, I don't know. I think it's like 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes.
Oh,
so
your
it's
time
a very
too.
fast game.
Yeah,
it's fun to play a few times in a row.
I could see that being like, you have a bit larger group and people maybe that aren't into games as much too. That like I haven't played a lot of games. Like you can kind of get them into them. They can have a lot of fun. They can be moving around, right? You'd be drinking, whatever. You're with partying almost, right? Yeah,
I'll have to look that one up.
It's more than just a gamer's game that you sit in, and yeah.
Yeah. So what about you guys? What's your first pick?
Keegan?
Yeah, I can go ahead and go. So I'm kind of doing like what you did, Jamie. I'm trying to do like a category for each game. So I think in general, party games themselves innately inspire you to stand up just because the nature of a party game. So I was trying to narrow down to a specific style of party game. So I went to deduction games.
Oh, no, are we going to have the same one?
So potentially. So I'm going to combine this together because they're kind of the same game, but One Night Ultimate Werewolf or Blood on the Clock Tower.
Oh, okay.
I think are great games. We just played Blood on the Clock Tower this week virtually and loved it. And I want to play this in person so bad now. But the group I have, when we play One Night Ultimate Werewolf, we've tried doing it sitting down, but then when you're at night with your eyes closed, you can kind of feel the person next to you moving across the table to do things. So we always make the rule if you have to stand up and constantly wiggle around at night, so no one can tell if you're moving out to do something.
I like that. Yeah.
Which definitely adds the element of like you can't just feel the vibe of people around you because everyone's constantly moving.
Yeah, that's a good rule to do.
I like that.
Yeah, because it's everyone definitely is just kind of like sitting there like trying to feel who's moving around. Like someone's doing it. Like
especially if someone's wearing like swishy pants or a swishy jacket, so you just hear out of nowhere, you know it's them. But yeah, that's our go-to house rule for that game.
Yes, and that Blood in the Clock Tower. Yeah, we played it last night. No,
2 nights ago.
2 nights ago, and that was with Carly. She invited us. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A little tricky to understand. There's some like. It's going to be like Ultimate, where each person kind of has a different role, but they're probably a little bit more. There's a bit more nuance, and like it makes it. I don't want to say complicated, but like it adds more than just some of the stuff that the One Night Ultimate Werewolf does. And yeah, it took a while to like for me to like kind of figure out what was going on, but once I did, things were starting to click, and it was like, oh, okay, I kind of see what's going on, or like who might be lying to who, or and like we did it where. Obviously, it's virtual, so we can't get up and move. We can't go whisper to each other in a separate room, whatever, which could be like in person could see that could be a lot of fun. We just kind of went to the different chat rooms and did it, so we could see who's whispering to who. So you still got some of that like moving around aspect to it, I guess.
Yeah. Was that in your list?
Blood on the Clock Tower was on my list. Yeah, but I mean, the other one there too. Then for mine that I would say is 2 Rooms and a Boom.
That was going to be the one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're moving around a lot. Yeah, trying to deuce and playing with some. It's very similar. Someone's got some roles, and you're trying to get into the right rooms and figure out who's who. And some of those are pretty fun.
Mine is a party-ish game. I feel like I've been evangelizing this game, like as if it was my Lord and Savior, but is Mysterium. Most games I've played of that, people are showing each other's cards, and especially if it's with a bigger group of people, you kind of get all around the table and look up and argue, and that was my party game pick, was Mysterium.
Okay.
Have you played Mysterium Park, the new version of it?
Not yet. I saw it was coming out. I was like, well, I'm going to buy it. I know I'm going to buy it. I just haven't bought it yet. But you've played it, right, Keegan?
Yeah, we played it on Halloween.
And we did too, yeah.
I was going to say you posted something about it, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I like it more than base game Mysterium, strictly because of setup time.
Okay.
Then I really know I'm going to like it.
The giant DM wall from the base game where you have to match cards up was so, like, it's not like a lot of work. That sounds really weird as a board game. There's so much work to set up a game, but Mysterium Parks just like gets the game out. You are set up in 2 minutes and you're ready to play.
Okay.
And it's you can you can play the game over and over again because there's so little setup time.
Yeah.
I completely agree. If I only have the new version, Mysterium Park. We've already played it 4 times.
Oh wow.
If I had the original, I would keep the screen just because I like that feature, like that physical separation between the ghosts and the players.
Yep.
But everything else, I would just use the Mysterium Park components. In fact, you probably could even combine those components with the cards from the original if you wanted to.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
They could definitely easily re-theme like the Mysterium Park idea too, and just like make a new setting and also have it in a small box, which be great. It'd be really cool to have something new every like 6 months from them.
That'd be awesome.
Every year. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play that one. I don't know why I didn't do it for Halloween. We played. I don't know what we did.
Halloween, I don't remember. Yeah.
We played something. Oh, that was the day we played like every game. We played a game that's on my list later.
Okay. 2 of them are on my list. No. Yeah. One of them's on my list. So, all right, let's go to our next one.
Number 2.
Number 2s. What you got, Jamie?
Number 2, so I picked a dexterity game. Mental Blocks is a little dexterous. You have to pick up blocks, but I wanted to go for an all-out dexterity game. It's the only one on this list that I own right now, and that is Flip Ships. Is a another cooperative game, dexterity game where you are flipping a tile so that you can hit these alien invader cards that are coming at you. Kind of like an old school video game where these cards are coming towards you, coming towards Earth, and off the edge of the table, you're flicking this thing to try to land on as many of these cards as possible. And it really opened my eyes up to dexterity games, which I had previously thought of just as an activity. But with this, it really felt like a game, and I liked that. Like the fun of dexterity games to me sometimes is it's almost just as fun when you mess up as when you hit something. Yeah. So there's a great moment when you hit something, but also when you mess up, that's like a fun, memorable moment. And when you cooperatively share that moment together, it just makes it extra special, extra fun, or extra memorable when you pull off a hit where you take out 4 ships all at once. Yeah. This is, and you have to stand up. You can't sit around because you're all flicking from the same exact place off the table. Have any of you played this one, Flip Ships?
No, I've looked into it, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah. Go ahead, Keegan.
I was gonna say I'm 2 for 2 now in games Jamey has brought up that I want to buy now. That sounds a lot of fun. Like I was in the same camp with you, Jamey, with dexterity games where I played Flick 'em Up, and I thought thematic wise it was great, but I was just also kind of the setup because there's so much like little pieces to put up. And then Flick of Faith was really appealing to me, but I can't find it anywhere. But Flip Ships looks great. This seems like a lot of fun.
It's really good.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my kid to get just like a little bit. He's 5, so I'm waiting for him to just get a little bit older, and then I can't wait to introduce him to so many of the dexterity games. But at this point, I think he would just be frustrated. I've got number 2.
All right.
Mine is Magic Maze. Have any of you played Magic Maze? Yeah, that was my number 2. For anyone who doesn't know, you're all cooperatively trying to get your gear in a mall, but your character has gear from a mall, and you're trying to get them out, but then everybody only can move 1 or 2 directions, and nobody can talk, and you're timed, and it's very tense, and most of the time somebody's standing up banging that pawn in front of somebody to let them know you're doing something wrong, you need to be doing something, and so that when they told me this was the topic, that was the first game I thought, I was like, oh, Magic Maze. Like,
definitely standing up like, come on, dude, like, move your guy, look at.
So that's my number 2.
I think we played it once with like 8 or 9 people. It was crazy.
Yeah, the game is chaos.
Yeah, it's chaos. It's fun though. My number 2 is one that it doesn't necessarily like encourage you or make you stand up, but is one that I always end up standing up because of anxiety or trying to see the board as it's coming down to the end. You're like, I'm looking at this whole board trying to figure out what are my last few moves, and that's Teotihuacan. It's such a large board presence, and you're just like, a lot of times it comes down to the wire, and things are so close towards the end. You're just like, I end up standing up, and I'm like, my hands on my hips, like just looking at this whole board. Where are my last few moves gonna go? And almost every time I end up standing up for that game. Just games with like those large presence where it's just like, those last few moves could make such a huge impact, and the games are always so close until the end. And
But I like games like that where you're so in the zone trying to make that decision that you probably don't even realize that you're standing up until you're there, and you're like, oh, okay, my back hurts. You got to sit back down. But I definitely been that immersed in a game like that. Sulkin is my pick for that type of that designer. Actually, I love Sulkin. But I can totally see that.
Yeah, my third one's similar. I'll do it in a minute. Though. Keegan, you do yours.
Yeah, Ryan, you saying like the game almost makes you stand up because of just how the game is made. I immediately thought Everdell with the Evertree, where you have to stand up to see what the bonus card is. Like you just can't see it sitting down. But, my second choice, that's like my actual second choice. I wanted to pick a game that also has more of a, you have to stand up to look over the board just to get an idea of everything that's going on the board. And that 100% for me is Food Chain Magnate. I mean, sitting down, you kind of get the perspective of the whole board anyway, but I feel like, at least for me, I need to stand up and look down onto the board to see exactly how many tiles away everything is and see where things are getting marketed to. And just having that top-down perspective helps me a lot to figure out what's going where, what house is getting what. And I think it's a requirement in that game, especially near the end, after you're 3 hours in and there's so much going on the board.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh man, that game. A lot to say about that one. That's another video.
Yeah.
Are we on threes?
Yeah, Keegan, go ahead and.
Well, I can do mine because it kind of
Okay.
sort of ties into both of yours with standing up. We played a game the other day, and it might have been and it felt really weird to do, but I actually got up and walked away from it and like got something to drink and just had to like cool my brain down. It felt for a second, which was Teotihuacan Suyu. I don't know if it was just because the first time, and it stuck in my brain, and thinking about it more, like it's not as heavy maybe as it seemed at first, but I actually had to walk away from it and stand up and walk away from the board because I felt like my brain was buzzing, similar to Teotihuacan, but not as much. For some reason, Teotihuacan Suyu it felt like it was breaking my brain, and I had to stand up and walk around circles a couple times. Then I came back and sat down. I was like, okay, I got a refresher, but I don't know if I've ever really walked away and come back from a board game, like needed a break. And I like even playing Twilight Imperium for like 12 hours, I didn't feel like I needed a break. This game, I felt like I needed a break from the mental gymnastics.
It's definitely because the way that map is set up, and you're trying to like connect or see that entire thing where the meeples are starting to build up on the whole board, and you're just trying to like, okay, where are the best places? You're like, there's so many you're trying to keep track of.
It was information overload.
Yeah, it feels like information. Yeah, so having to step away from a game too is
Yeah, it felt weird.
It's one of those. Yeah.
It felt like I was like, wait, I'm playing a game. I need to go sit back down.
Yeah.
Luckily, the turns take a long time in that game, so it wasn't like making anybody mad.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of a good sign that you were still really engaged in the game. You almost needed the refresher so you could remain engaged.
Yeah, it was a very interesting game. I really want to play it again, but I've only played it the once. But I needed a break for a minute.
Yeah. Keegan?
Yeah, my last game it kind of falls in line with Food Chain Magnate, but short amount of time. And this one's strictly because of the amount of information going on in different things. And it's also one of my favorite games, and we just played it, perSPECtive 2nd edition.
Okay.
Strictly because of where you're sitting, the market can look really far away, so you have to see everything in the market. But then also, depending on where the game state is, being able to get, again, the top-down perspective on the regions and what's going on in the regions, and also seeing everyone else's tableau and knowing which cards are maybe a priority to hold hostage, which cards may be priority to destroy, so you can make them lose their control in an area. Not needless to say, though, I've spent a good 20 minutes sitting in that game not talking because I'm just thinking so much on people's turns, trying to figure out the best game plan. But especially near the game when like points are getting really, really tight, standing up and just trying to get an overall picture of everything that's going on, I think is almost needed in a game like that.
Well, and the way your spies move around too, they move around everybody's cards, so you almost have to count how many cards they have, and if you're playing like 4 or 5 players, look at it.
And see if there's a card with a gift on it, so if you blow the card up, you know you're going to be flipping sides or not, and just a lot of information on the game that having a different perspective on it helps a lot.
Yeah, I could easily see having, like, if you needed to, like, literally standing up, going around to the other side of the table, looking at the other person's card and seeing how that tableau goes and how it's going to, like, move then to the next. Because if you're not all sitting in, like, a square, you really need to, like, understand how that tableau is moving around and what you want
especially at 5 players.
Have you played perSPECtive?
It's on my right near the top of my list of games that I want to play.
Your quarantine list.
That's we did a review of that one. We all have some varying opinions on it, so that'll be coming out soon. But
oh, cool! I'll have to check that out.
It's a very interesting game. But my third one is one we did just recently play too. Probably one of my more favorite tile laying ones that recently came out, Tang Garden. It's such a beautiful game, but it's just the way that the game works. You're going to have all these like screens that come around the outside of the board, and then you're also adding these trees, the little houses, right? And so the board the bridges. The game just becomes like a large game. So you kind of have to stand up, look around, go side to side to really see where you need to play that next tile. And it's funny because you have on your Instagram of us playing it. He just took a video of it, and I'm like standing up, looking around. I was like, well, there we go. Perfect. Like, this is a game that you need to be able to see, just to be able to see around things and like.
And you want to because it's so
Yeah.
beautiful. I mean, like it looks like a painting when you're done with that game.
I mean, yeah, because that's the whole thing. Like, you're getting your people out there because they want to see the scenery, and you're like, well, you're kind of also doing that in the game, seeing it from different perspectives, and yeah, standing up in that game is like almost required to be able to like figure out everything that's going on and make your best move. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that one on my shelf. I could did that same exact thing. Yeah.
Oh, you played it?
Yeah, we played it twice. The first game I wasn't sure if we'd play it again, but then we were like, okay, we'll give it another try because I liked it, but it took longer than I wanted it to take. And then the second game just flowed perfect.
We need to play it again.
Absolutely.
We want because Keegan hasn't played it yet, right, Keegan? Yeah, we played it without you.
All right, so go ahead and Jamey, your last one.
Yeah, so the final category I picked are the types of games where you have some player interaction where you actually like want to whisper something to someone. So you actually want to pull them away from the table a little bit. You have to stand up and move away from the table to say something to someone that other players can't hear. Some of the social games you mentioned kind of fit in this category, but I was thinking more along the lines of Game of Thrones, or my pick here will be Risk Legacy. I really loved my playthrough of Risk Legacy, and there were definitely moments in it where I was like, okay, I just need to talk to you for a minute, and I don't want everyone else to hear, and it matters in the game. And so to have that type of almost physical interaction in the game where you're physically pulling someone aside and whispering something, that to me leads to some memorable moments for me. Yeah. Have you guys played Risk Legacy or Game of Thrones? Either of those games I think fit for this category.
I've played a bit of Game of Thrones. Yeah. I haven't played Risk Legacy, but I really like the Game of Thrones board game. I've had some pretty crazy moments in that game. A lot of backstabbing, and I don't think I've ever won it, but but it's always memorable.
Yeah, I haven't played either of those.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, I haven't.
We were gonna play Game of Thrones a while back, but that was before pandemic. So
yeah, you kind of have to. Do you have the expansion to it? The Mother of Dragons expansion.
No.
Oh, okay, it fixes like because in base Game of Thrones you really need like all like what is it 6 players, otherwise there's like a AI and it doesn't work as well. But the expansion fixes it I think a lot to where you don't need a full player count. So it got played a lot more once that expansion came out. But yeah, it definitely you do want to pull people to the side and chat with them and try and wheel and make deals and be sneaky. But I'm not sneaky at all, so I don't do that.
I almost feel like the same thing could happen with like a smaller game like War of Shadows.
Oh, War of Whispers.
War of Whispers, sorry. War of Whispers. Yeah. Almost like, you could almost like pull someone aside and be like, hey, it feels like we're both kind of going for something here, like we should maybe do something. We never did it, but it definitely feels like something, like you were saying, Jamey, like, yeah, maybe you want to pull someone away because you can sense that they may be trying to get a certain faction to be more dominant. Yeah.
That definitely changes with the different players.
You can do that in PAX Familiar too, but I feel like the game's way more fun when you vocally say out loud at the table saying, hey, I'm going to totally betray you in 2 turns. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I guess I think I've done that in Dogs of War also. Dogs of War, I've made deals with people and then just totally backstabbed them.
Yeah, that's it. Like, to think about it, like there's quite a few games that you can think of that might not necessarily say like in the rules or whatever that standing up or moving around is helpful, but you're definitely like, you always feel like I need, like, this should be something to do just to simply see the board, understand what's going on, right? Or like create maybe an alliance depending on the game, whatever you want to do that. Very interesting that no one's really ever talked about. Yeah. Just like how that, just this thing that we may naturally sort of do in games that we never really think about. Like, it's more just secondhand.
Yeah, I didn't think I mean, everybody always thinks of her topics of like top 5 board games, but yeah, I didn't think about standing up. So, because we're always usually sitting down.
Right.
It'd be curious to see and listen to other designers and maybe their perspective on how they design a game that maybe they think of like, how does my game impact someone maybe having to stand up or like see some of this, and can we design it in a way that could help if you need to do this, you don't need like, how might standing kind of affect this gameplay, and what can we do as a designer, or, to kind of, maybe if you want that, to like to encourage it, to be like, hey, like, yeah, stand up, or see this from a new perspective because it's part of the game. Is it do we bring it into the rule books? Do we like encourage people, or like, yeah, an interesting topic that you could just sit down and almost have like a round table about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
This was actually a harder topic than I thought to think of games for, too.
Yeah.
I was struggling. I was like, man, what am I going to pick?
I'm looking forward to seeing your video on it, Jamey, and seeing what else you have on that list. I'm really curious about that.
A lot of them are dexterity games, so I'm glad that we didn't focus most on dexterity games much at all today, because that's kind of the easy answer for this. But there are a lot of other more interesting answers, and I appreciate you guys helping me form this list. Actually, I'll give you credit when I make the video.
We're not very big dexterity gamers.
Yeah, we haven't.
I think we play some, but I usually outright am like, that's not a game, and then I feel like elitist. I'm like, I can't do that. There's games in there. I know that they're fun. I just, when I think of like, I'm gonna sit down for a board game night, I don't usually think of like a dexterity game. But Dan will pull them out a bit. Dan has them, and then I'm always I feel like a snob when I'm like, I'm not, and then I play it, and I'm like, oh, this is so much fun. Like, I'm a dork.
There's one that like the sticks where like you're trying to hang sticks onto each other. It's almost like a kid's game, but it's fun because, right, you could like, it's one another one that you stand up and you're like, I need to go like put my stick over on this other side because the green that green stick is over there, and it
feels like fun. It feels like cheating when you're the only sober person too, because we played it at a party and I was like the only one, and everyone else was pretty sloppy, and
it makes some memorable stuff. That's funny. Yeah, some of those dexterities can create some crazy memories. Yeah. Well, this has been a very interesting conversation, and definitely like, just for me having to think about this, because don't normally think about it and going, do I choose this game? Because it's not really like the game itself isn't really encouraging you to stand up, but it's something that I always end up doing, and I don't really think about it. But then to actually now think about it is very interesting, because then I go, well, do I do this for other games, and does it help, or do I try to find a new, like, do I move around this thing? Do I notice myself doing that? Can open up new questions, new ways of looking at games, designing games, whatever, what have you.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the topic, Jamey.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys talking about it. It's been great.
Let me see. So I don't know how much more time you have, Jamey, but thank you from all of us. It's been really great, and hopefully we can do it again sometime. Find some other topic. But do you have anything you wanna plug, or let people know where to find you?
Oh yeah, if people want to find me, they can go to stonemeiergames.com, and everything is there. The YouTube channel, my Instagram. I like that you guys wanted to talk to me as a gamer today. That's just, it's fun to talk about games, and that's mostly what my Instagram is for. I mostly post games from other publishers that I just enjoy playing and that I have fun with. So if you enjoyed that aspect of this conversation, you can check out my Instagram, which is under Jamey Stegmaier.
Yeah, and we'll make sure to include that in the description.
Cool.
Yeah, it's been fun to do this and talk with gamers, especially. Like, I feel like the couple people we have talked to, it's been like, it's cathartic almost, like with this COVID stuff. It's like it's been very nice, like, as gamers, to verbally process, like, what have you played? What are you missing? Like, because I've really missed that aspect of the gaming scene at, like, the stores we'd go to, even just chatting with the guys behind the desk about games. Like, it's been missing in my life. So I really appreciate people being willing to come on and chat. Yeah,
and I know, like, as we keep, oh, hey, kitty.
Sorry.
Yeah, but like, having you on, and I know as we kind of keep doing these videos, we want to have more designers on to actually let them talk about being board gamers, because, you know, that's where they started. Like, you were a board gamer first, then you went and designed because you love board games. But like, how much do people actually know about you as a board gamer, and that passion that we all share, that we just kind of want to get out and let people hear from you guys? And so that's kind of our big goal with these, and to keep talking with people throughout the country and world, really, and find others with our passion. We're all addicts.
Great. Well, yeah, I look forward to seeing all the other things on your channel, and I'm curious about what you'll say about PAX Premiere. Hopefully, it'll help me get it to the table finally. I don't actually have a copy, but a friend has a copy here in St. Louis, and he loves the game. So maybe we'll find a way to get together and play it.
Yeah.
Do a spoiler and say it's in my top 5.
Yeah,
it's in your top 5.
It was an interesting conversation that we had. It was almost, our review was almost more of like a conversation amongst ourselves about how we felt it, which that's kind of how we want our reviews to go in. But yeah,
I don't even remember. It was a long day.
Yeah, it was, but it's definitely one to absolutely at least play once. You have to. No, you have to play twice really, because the first time you're going to kind of play it. It'll start clicking, but the second play you'll really start to kind of pick up on what's going on, and it almost takes 2 plays to really either not like it or really love it, and
But we don't want to take up too much of your time. We really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us.
Yeah, I've had fun. Sorry I had to cut it a little short tonight. I've been still hosting a weekly game night,
fun.
but just not in person. So I got to go get prepared for that. We'll do we do it on Board Game Arena every other Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
But yeah, thanks for finding the time to have this chat.
Absolutely.
And let me know. Well, I'll see when it goes live. I subscribe to you now, but
it'll be on Friday. Well,
on Friday.
People are watching it, but it'll be on Friday.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you, Jamey.
See ya.
Thanks.